Welcome back, No Thought Thursdays. How's everybody?
Well,
Fantastic.
Uh-huh.
Great.
Cool. Any questions before we get started about anything that was on your mind this week or right now?
I guess I never read something before that I read, and was it Jonah? In the KJV it said God repented.
Mhm.
I was like, damn, God repented. What we doing? What I'm doing? I'm talking about me.
What you mean?
Wait, it says God repented?
Yeah,
What
but
that mean?
it just means he turned away from what he was trying to do. He turned away from what he was going to do to a certain group of people.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
So is that just a statement or is it
It's
a
just
question?
a statement. Yeah.
Okay. And you fully understand that?
Fully understand it?
Uh-huh.
No.
Okay. What did you associate that to yourself about? Like, how did that go with you?
It didn't. I just was like, I just thought like, oh, God repented as well. So like, he repented as well.
Okay.
But I knew it wasn't like how we should be repenting,
Uh-huh.
So I knew it wasn't the same. Like we ain't on the same level type stuff.
Uh-huh.
What he was doing is not what I should be doing as well.
Interesting.
But yeah, when I read it, I was just surprised. I never read that before.
Very interesting. So you don't think the repentance that God had in that moment is the repentance that he wants you to have?
Not like that, but more so I knew it wasn't like for the same reason.
Mm-hmm.
It like of course like that was an example, but more so like I just know it ain't coming from the same heart. Is what I'm saying, or the same core.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So should you repent as your Father in heaven repents?
Yes.
That's quick switch.
What you mean? That's not a switch.
So you understand? So it's the same repentance, or not the same?
It's the same repentance. I'm just saying. He ain't got no issue with his repentance.
Uh-huh.
I got issues.
Oh,
with
right.
my repentance. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Because he never learned how to not learn.
Oh.
But yeah, we'll get back to it. Anybody else, any questions for this week? And before I do it, does that make sense to you what I just said?
He never learned how to not learn?
Yeah.
He never learned how to not learn.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like it does.
Okay. Does that make sense to anybody else, or does it make sense to nobody else? We'll move on. Cool. So yeah, any other questions, anything, or statements? A dopeness, whackness for the week, or anything you learned about yourself this week? You ain't learned nothing about yourself. You went through a whole week and didn't learn nothing about yourself. What you learned about your neighbor this week? They trash. They all do this. That. No.
I learned he was on my plate. Well, I guess I got more into learning about eating what's on my plate. Yeah.
What does that mean?
I wouldn't say for me. I ain't gonna say for me. What I learned from it, in small words, not to get ahead of myself, and just focus on what's in front of you. Focus on this step right here instead of thinking about that step up there.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Nobody else before we get started. Nobody learned nothing about themselves. No dopeness for the week.
I mean, I did learn that. How do I say it? Hold on. That I did learn how to not learn. I'm constantly learning how to not learn. And the way I realized that is because I still do things that I'm like, I can't do that no more. Like, coming late, you know what I'm saying? Like that. Like, I've learned how to not learn to not be late to stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's kind of a custom. Pressing the snooze button. Like, that's just like a natural thing now.
All right, so are you still learning how to not learn?
I don't know.
Do you know how to not learn how to not learn? You know how to stop not learning? Or learning how to not learn, if that makes any sense. And I'm trying not to confuse you with you.
I'm confused.
She's looking like, yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you know how to stop that? How about that? Do you know how to stop learning how to not learn?
Not really. I think once you kind of get in like a cadence of doing certain things, it's hard to get out of it sometimes. But like I know that I know what to do, how to get out of it. But it's the same step, like set the alarm earlier, or just this particular example. But as far as do I know how to stop learning how to not learn? No.
Okay. Cool. Would you like to know?
Yeah.
So do you see that as useful at all? Like the idea of what we're talking about right now?
Yeah.
When did you learn how to not learn?
I have no idea. Probably as a kid.
Probably as a kid?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So.
All right. So for those unaware, that's the question for the week. So since nobody ain't learned nothing about themselves, they just going through life, learning what Cardi B done did, or that new girl, whatever her name is.
What?
I don't know.
Ice Spice?
What? All right, we'll talk about it.
You learned something new about her this week?
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
I'm messing with you. But yeah, that's the question. What was it? Yeah, have you learned how to not learn? Does anybody want to respond to it? Just jump right into the thick of it.
Yes.
Are you still learning how to not learn?
Yes.
Do you see what's causing it?
Do I see what's causing still learning?
Wait.
Say it again?
Still learning how to not learn.
Do I see what's causing? Like, I'm sorry. You said do you see what's causing it?
Do you understand the question?
Yeah, the original one. I guess when you say see what's causing it. What's causing me how to not learn? Is that what you said?
Yes. Learning how to not learn.
Oh, yes.
And what's that?
Not giving a freak.
I'm confused.
Not caring.
Not caring is causing you to not learn?
Right.
How so?
When I say not caring, I mean, so something happened a minute ago, I don't care. So I might have tripped up, I don't care now. That was a minute ago. I'm in this minute.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right where you're supposed to be.
Is that, yeah.
And you say that's causing you to not learn.
Right.
Interesting. Very interesting. How so?
How so? How's it causing me to not learn?
Yeah.
I'm not stuck. I'm not stuck in the past or the future.
That's a very interesting response. So you're still not learning? Interesting. Is that a place that you want to stay?
Not learning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think it means to learn?
What do I think it means to learn?
Yeah.
To be stuck.
To be stuck in what?
In old ways or yeah. The learn I thought about was the old learning that I had.
Okay, now I'm super confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to live a life where you don't learn?
I don't want to learn the way I used to learn. No.
Right.
Right. That's the learn I'm talking about.
That's the not learning.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So about that, do you see what causes that? The not learning?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Being stuck in that minute before.
Oh, holding on to the past is making you not learn from it.
Yeah, or like, getting into the thoughts, going with the thoughts.
Very interesting. Your words are interesting.
Wait, I think I don't know.
Is anybody else lost too?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like you mixed it up a little bit. That's what you meant when you said that.
Yeah, I think I
He
did.
did the look. Yeah.
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 I don't know what happened there.
Again, bringing it back. We'll come back. Does anybody else want to respond to the question? Want to respond to the question? Have you learned how to not learn? No, it's okay. You don't
I feel
have
like
to.
potentially. I don't want to say concretely I've learned how to not learn. But I know one part of me that I feel like. What am I trying to say? Like the whole hard. When I saw the question, I thought about the hard set mindset. Like how you can be so hard set on things that prevents you from learning.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
So have you learned how to not learn?
I don't think 100%.
But have you?
So no.
You haven't learned. How did you not learn how to not learn?
Oh, dang it. How did I not learn how to not learn? By being hard set on things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because sometimes like when you're so stuck on a certain idea or theory or goal, you just like are so focused on that you're not looking for different opportunities to learn and grow because you just focused on one thing.
So you have learned how to not learn.
I guess I haven't applied it in certain situations.
Say that again.
I haven't applied it, I guess.
Apply what?
Because sometimes I feel like I still get stuck on things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't realize till after or later on after maybe months or years have passed on and I'm hard set on this one thing. And then I realize it. Instead of me going into everything with no type of hard setness.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Does realizing something months or years later sound like somebody who has learned how to learn or somebody who has learned how to not learn?
Learn how to learn, but I want to learn faster. I want to be more quick with it. It's kind of like the thoughts thing. That's something I still struggle with. I still go with my thoughts.
Do you see what's making that take so long? If you had to say what's making it take so long, what's standing in the way of you getting it right then and there? Myself. How so?
Or maybe it's not myself, but it feels like myself.
Right.
I don't know how to describe it.
Interesting. Is the question at all interesting to you, or is it just like a mind game?
No, it's definitely interesting.
Did you Google it?
No, I didn't Google it. I didn't have time.
Nice. Cool. What about you?
I was really confused, the most lost I've ever been, which says a lot. But are you saying what can you say the question again?
Have you learned how to not learn?
Are you saying? Can I put the question into how I'm taking it?
I mean, you can say whatever you want to say.
All right. Are you asking have I gotten comfortable with going through the same thing and not learning?
I'm asking, have you learned how to not learn?
I don't know what you're asking.
Have you learned how to learn?
I don't know.
You don't know if you've learned how to learn?
Have I learned how to learn? I don't know if I learned how to learn. I think I just learned.
Have you learned how to not learn?
I don't think I learned that either. I think I just not learned.
You just not learned?
Yeah, I just did it. I didn't have to learn it.
How did you not learn how to not learn? So so say that again. But you said you just learned how to not learn.
So I learned how to learn. No, wait, hold on, back up. You said how I learned how to learn. I didn't learn how to learn. I just learned. And then did I not learn how to not? The word learn is starting to sound really weird.
Right. So you just say, for instance, you said, I didn't learn how to learn, I just learned.
Yeah.
Without learning.
But
apparently. Because if you learn how to learn without learning, that's what you said, right? I didn't learn how to learn, I just learned.
Yeah, I didn't have to learn how to learn, I just learned. And that was that's when learning came into, that was just, it was.
So you learn how to learn without learning. Interesting.
How to learn.
How does that sound to you, me saying that right there? Does that sound weird?
No. So I learned how to learn. No. I did not learn how to learn, but I did learn.
How?
I learned, but I didn't need to learn how to learn. I just learned.
How?
By just learning.
How?
By
So you don't
learning.
see how you learned?
By understanding.
Okay, understanding what?
It depends on what we're talking about.
Okay, so how did you learn how to understand?
I didn't. I was born with, like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
Very interesting.
I was born with something that at least enabled me to learn initially.
Nice.
And then from there, I didn't need to learn how to learn.
And from there,
I didn't even
after
know
you
I was
learned-
learning. Does that make sense?
I know what you mean. 100% I know what you mean.
Okay.
But after you learned, then you learn how to not learn.
Yeah.
How did you learn how to not learn?
Myself.
How?
I just pick and choose what I want to know, what I don't want to know.
Oh, so, hypothetically, are there certain things that you be like, I don't ever want to do that again, and then you end up doing it again? Have you learned how to not do that? How? Well.
I guess if I learned, then I wouldn't do it again. So I don't know if I truly learned or not.
Right. So do you choose when you learn and when you don't learn?
The learning comes when I do the thing that I shouldn't have done.
Say that again?
The learning comes when I do what I said I didn't want to do anymore.
But you do it again.
I do it again.
So that don't sound like you learned.
I did learn. I just chose to not learn.
Then why did you say I'll never do it again?
Well, not that I may not have said I'll never do it again, but I may have said I don't want to do that again.
Then why would you say that?
Because at the time I didn't want to do it again.
Then why did you do it again?
Because I wasn't listening. I was being hard-headed.
Is a hard-headed person somebody who learns or don't be learning?
So, like, I learned the learning was not effective.
So would you
It
say
did not
that
have a change. Like, it didn't change anything.
Nice. So would you say you learned how to not learn?
Exactly, yes.
Yes. Would you like to live life apart from that? Or you want
I
to
want
keep
to
not
say
learning?
yes, but I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I want to say yes, but if I'm being honest, there's some things that I still don't want to like. I know I need to stop doing, but I don't want to right now. If I'm being honest.
Okay. Say that one more time to me. That's so interesting what you just said.
Essentially, yes, but if I'm being honest with myself right now, there are some things that I know I need to not do or let go of, but I don't want to right now.
Does everybody else feel like that?
I do, but that's just me being honest because I realize I'm still doing it, so there's still a desire somewhere. Like I obviously want to do this.
Do you think that this desire exists without you?
No.
So it's your desire.
Yes.
So which one is true? The one that wants to stop or the one that wants to keep doing it? Or how do you tell the difference between which one is true?
I don't know.
Interesting. Very interesting. Do you think about stuff like this on your own?
Sure.
Have you come to any conclusion? I mean, you just said, I don't know, but...
When you asked earlier, I guess the only conclusion that I've come to in general is that I really don't know what I want at all.
Yeah.
So I can't really say like, oh yeah, I want to stop or I want to keep. I don't know what I want at all. And I realized that this week. I don't know what I want.
Is there a burning with what you're talking about?
A what?
A burning.
Burning?
Yeah.
What you mean?
Like a consequence for it.
I mean, it's different things,
So what made you stop it? I would say you want to stop.
I guess just morals. Morally, I know it's not.
So like what you read like in the Bible or when you hear at church, you like, nah, I shouldn't do that.
Or even just knowing certain things are just not of God. Or maybe getting the feeling that I know something not right. But I don't. I
This
want to
is so
stop.
good.
I want to stop, but I don't want to stop because I'm enjoying it.
Right. Interesting. So essentially, it sounds. I could be wrong. It sounds like there's a judgment that comes after doing it that don't sit well with you and makes you want to stop.
Yeah, you can say that. That's correct.
Without that judgment, you wouldn't want to stop. Or better question, do you think you would just stop naturally because seeing what it does, or would you just go willy-nilly and just dive in without that? I don't know if that helps narrow it down.
It's kind of like sometimes one, sometimes the other. So like sometimes I don't feel bad about, because I'm like, I keep making this decision, like I'm gonna keep feeling bad about it, or I'm gonna just stop doing it. So sometimes I don't feel bad about like what I do, because it's like I'm still doing it, so who I'm gonna be feeling, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
So yeah, it's like sometimes it's one, sometimes the other.
Do you still have anger?
Not that I can recall, no.
Do you still have anger?
No.
Do you have frustration?
No.
So you be perfectly fine with everything. You don't never get mad.
If I feel I say irritation, but when I feel that like building up, I kind of do what you was saying and just like acknowledge it, and because my mechanism of action is to leave anything that I feel like irritated about, but lately I've just been like, okay, calm down, just stay in a situation that shouldn't make me feel angry or frustrated or irritated. That makes sense.
So you couldn't stay in that situation without feeling angry?
No, I could. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if I do feel irritation rising up, I acknowledge it and just remain in the situation without getting angry. Just...
Do you don't see irritation as anger?
It don't feel like anger, but I guess it could be.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So last question. I'm not gonna ride you. Are you okay carrying on in life, continuing learning how to not learn? Or would you rather stop? Right here today. If you had to choose.
I would rather stop, but some days I wouldn't rather stop. But right now, I'd rather stop.
Nice. And I'm going to stay true to my word. We're going to move on. Does anybody else in this room still have anger? Yay, nay? No? Interesting. This question, did it spark any, like, did you think about it at all? Like, what's your take on the question? Or what's your takeaway from the question?
I think the question like shed some light on the fact that there's things that I still like struggle with, or that have just become like natural, like just natural, like secondhand type of things, and it's because I haven't learned to fix the issue. Like I'm just like okay with the problem a certain thing. So I think the question kind of just shed a little bit of light on who I am a little bit.
Mhm.
Not necessarily who I am, but what I struggle with or what difficulties there are. I don't know if that made sense, but.
And your answer to the question was what again?
What was the question was
so
that?
good.
Have I learned how to
yeah.
not learn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
And a little bit of no, based on how Nia was explaining it, I was like, well, dang, maybe not. But I would say yes. How I'm understanding the question is like, how have I learned how to not learn a lesson, or have I learned how to not? Have I learned where the stumbling comes from and how to avoid the stumbling, whatever it may be?
Mhm.
That's how I'm seeing the question. But I'm also seeing it as like, have I learned how to not learn how to repeat certain things? Have I learned how to? I guess it's the same way of describing it.
Say that last thing again.
Have I learned how to? Have I learned how to not fall? I guess I'm saying the same thing. I don't know.
Say what you say. You good.
I said,
I'm with
have
you.
I learned how to not stumble?
Uh-huh.
Which is, have I learned how to not like fall into certain traps or how to see things a certain way?
Mm-hmm.
Have I learned how to not do that? No.
Okay.
And then that kind of is answering the same questions. Have I learned how to not learn my lesson? Like, how to not learn? Like, so it's the same thing, but yeah.
And so, did you learn anything about yourself when you was looking at that?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to share?
Trying to think of something specific. I think it like goes back like specifically. I think we had a conversation like social media and things like that. Kind of. I'm a person like I'll dip off for like months at a time, and then when I like go back in and dabble, I'm like on it constantly and like either just like scrolling, getting caught up, or taking that information that I get from social media, what other people are doing, and applying it to my life. And then there goes the self-judgment, all that other stuff. So, and that's been a constant struggle since I don't know how long. Like, I haven't learned the fact that social media is just not for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might be in this generation, but it's just not your cup of tea. So I haven't learned to just, I guess it's called like cold turkey, just be done.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I haven't learned that.
Because you've learned how to not learn.
Because I've learned how to not learn that lesson, yeah. I've gotten accustomed to being like a routine.
Got you.
Yeah.
And you said you did or you didn't? I don't remember.
Haven't learned how to not learn.
Yeah.
Ultimately, no.
So you haven't learned how to not learn?
No.
How did you not learn how to not learn?
How did I not learn? Not learn how to not learn?
No, the initial question is, have you learned how to not learn? And your answer was?
Sorry. Have I learned it?
Have you learned how to not
The
learn?
same question as have you learned? How did you learn how to learn?
No.
Not learn how to not learn. That's too negative. So that's the same as.
The question is, have you learned how to not learn? That's
So
not a
no.
double negative.
So yeah, have I? Wait.
So
have
no.
I learned?
No,
Look at us right now.
Yes.
This
yes.
is like people who would
I was saying when you asked
People
her,
that
how did
learn
you not
now.
learn how to not learn?
Yeah, that's
That's
why I
That's
got
the
double
second
negative.
question I asked. So, okay, let's
Oh,
start
okay.
from
How
there.
did you
I don't
learn
want to
how to not
confuse.
learn?
I'm trying to be
Okay.
as simple as I can. And I'm giving plenty of leeway. As much leeway as you need, you got.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Have you learned how to not learn?
Yes.
Okay. When did you learn how to not learn?
When did I learn how to not learn? I feel like when I got stuck on learning.
When was that?
We got stuck on learning. I feel like when we start to define it, when we just start to define learning and what it's supposed to look like, how it's supposed to be done.
And like age range, what would you say?
I want to say the moment I started. The moment I start thinking.
Oh man, this is so beautiful.
Cause like when you're young, I like remember the day I started thinking. I tell Neo this all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I literally remember the day. I was 5 years. I don't know how old I was actually. And I remember I woke up from a nap and I looked in the mirror and I was like, whoa, I'm a person. And it was like this whole. And I remember that day on, I started thinking about my actions, like what my mom was saying. Like, you know, before when you're young, like even when you get whoopings or you get in trouble, like nothing hits you for real.
Yeah,
And I
don't
remember
stick.
like that moment, I was like, oh, I gotta listen to what she said. I gotta, you know, you
'Cause
just
these are the
start noticing
consequences
things.
it's rolling,
Yeah, you
yeah.
start noticing like life,
Yeah, that makes
people's
sense.
reactions to things,
Yeah.
what people like. I don't know, you start noticing societal stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's when I think I started.
That's good, yeah.
Did they just pop up now, or
That
that?
just popped up now, yeah.
Oh man, shoot! I want to wrap up now. What about you? When did you learn when to not learn? How to not learn?
When I was little.
What do you think caused that?
Just me wanting to do what I want to do.
Were you not allowed to do what you wanted to do?
Mm-mm. I was a kid.
So weren't you already doing that?
Wait, what?
You said you started not learning because you wanted to do what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
But you was already doing that. So you weren't learning before?
I'm confused now.
Okay, cool. I don't want to confuse you. But you just said so are you just saying that, or do you see that you stopped or you learned how to not learn when you was a kid?
No. Wait, I think I'm thinking of it in a different way. I'm thinking of like not learning like what my mom is telling me to do, like stuff like that. Like,
What you mean?
when I'm thinking about not learning, I'm thinking about like, oh, someone's telling you to do this and this is the
Oh,
right
not
way.
obeying parents. No,
Yeah, I'm
that's
thinking
not learning.
about
No, it's
so
just
that's
not
what I'm like,
obeying.
wait. But in the way that we were talking about it, I guess like maybe it's like a teenager or something.
Interesting. Lovely. Somebody do me a favor. Can we look up? Well, who wants to say what learn means? Do we know what that word means?
To get into information.
Huh?
To get into information.
Interesting. Anybody else? So you don't know what learning means?
I don't have a word to describe it. I think learning, getting
That's the
information and retaining it.
Mhm.
Like when people be like, that's learned behavior, or you're learning your alphabets, or learning how to walk. Like learning is something that you eventually will retain, I feel like.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I think.
So learning, would you say that there's knowing in learning?
Yes.
Like once you
It's
learn
the
how to
beginning of
walk,
knowing.
now you know how to walk.
Yes.
Interesting. What do you say learning is? Best of your ability. No wrong answer. Just what you see.
Yeah, I would just say what you said. Learning is knowing.
Your own words.
I don't have no
Okay,
other way.
Cool. You got anything? And you ain't cheating, is you?
Yeah, I already cheated.
What'd you say learning is?
What did it say?
Mm-hmm.
It say to gain knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, to gain knowledge of.
Okay, nice. Anything else in there?
To acquire knowledge or ideas of something before unknown. Another one said.
If you don't mind, read as many as you can see.
This one said gain or acquire knowledge of or skill in something by study, experience, or being taught. To acquire skill in anything, to gain by practice, the faculty of performing, as to learn to play on a flute or organ, to teach, to communicate the knowledge of something before unknown, to gain or receive knowledge, to receive instruction, to take pattern with of, to receive information or intelligence.
Interesting. Man, this is so
I
good.
didn't read this one. We learn the use of letters, the meaning of words, and the principles of science. We learn things by instruction, by study, and by experience and observation. It is much easier to learn what is right than to unlearn what is wrong.
That's a good statement right there. That's quote of the day. It is much easier to learn what is right than to unlearn what is wrong.
That's true. It's like a trap.
Do you think it? If only you knew.
It's a trap, yeah.
So based on that, do you think it's easy to get back to learning once you learn how to not learn?
Nope.
Not at all.
You don't even want to learn no more.
You okay with that?
Oh,
You
man.
We're supposed to stay right here.
Literally, at this point, I done made my bed.
Do you ever heard this saying? I know y'all heard this saying. You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yep.
You learn how to not learn. Did y'all get that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one set way that he's learned how to operate to get X, Y, Z, and nothing else matters. This, he's set in it. He don't forgot how to learn. He's been programmed into a certain way. We a little different, but we animal-like when we are like that. Anybody who's learned how to not learn is basically like an animal.
A beast.
Yeah, because like, I don't know, but I've never seen a traumatized animal become untraumatized. You know what I mean? It seems like they don't have that ability to, I guess, repent or to turn away from it. But yeah, it's a programming. And before we get too deep, pull up this scripture for me. Proverbs, somebody, whoever wants to read. Proverbs 22, 24 through 25. I don't even remember what it said. But it was dope when I saw it. Wait, before you do that, who do you think, anybody can answer? I would love to have at least one answer. For those who have learned how to not learn, who do you think that you learn how to not learn from?
Our daddy Satan.
Oh, man. Okay, bingo. Yeah, read that scripture for me if you don't mind.
You said what? 22 what?
22?
Proverbs 22.
24 through 25.
24.
And 25.
Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man, thou shalt not go, lest thou learn his ways and get a snare to thy soul.
Read that again.
Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go, lest thou learn his ways and get a snare to thy soul.
Does anybody know what that means?
I have a question. How can you make a friend of somebody that's angry?
You ain't got no friends that got anger?
Okay, yeah.
I'm just thinking like don't get mad.
I would be a friend. Okay.
So everybody got friends who get mad. Huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What version was that? Was that King James version?
Yeah.
At your house. At your house on Halloween.
So do y'all know what that was saying? Like, do y'all get what that means?
I don't.
I don't get it in that translation.
Read whatever. What do you like? What's your go-to?
Oh, me? Okay.
Talking about me?
I don't know.
Like, what's your go-to though?
Oh, I might split up in probably NLT.
NLT.
TPT.
What's the
Mine's
second one you
still
said? You said NLT and what?
TPT.
Oh, the Passion Translation.
Passion
Oh yeah.
translation.
Everybody who got passion angry.
Passion. Passion. Oh my God.
Yep.
Hey.
No,
You
that is
said
that's the way I used to
Proverbs.
tell people, like, when I'm like trying to tell them something, or we're in a discussion or argument, disagreement. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just passionate about how I'm saying it. But really,
I'm just angry and I don't know how to control it.
not angry.
I don't
It's
That's all
just
passion
You're
is,
angry.
man. It's a nice way to say you angry.
I don't know, 'cause, like, a lot of men who are like emotional or like really passionate, they be like putting their hands on women.
Right.
They angry.
Right.
There's no
Like,
such
any
thing as a
man be
good
really
passion.
emotional.
Oh my
no,
God.
Say
that
that
does
again?
make sense. Yeah.
When you putting their hands on women.
Mhm.
Proverbs what though? 22.
Yeah, Proverbs
24, 22, 22, 24 through 25. But yeah, nah, because every angry dude is a female. And you know, females fight females. It's okay. Sorry.
No, it's not
In the
okay.
words of Whitney
Girls be
Houston, I don't
fighting
fight
everybody.
girls, I beat them up.
You seen them lesbians? Well, lesbians be going at it, boy. Lesbians
What?
be beating the hell out of each other. You ain't see?
Nah.
Alright. Alright. They buy the most makeup too. Cover up their bruises. Keep going.
Okay. 24. Don't befriend angry people or associate with hot-tempered people, or you will learn to be like them and endanger your soul.
See, that's weak. They say endanger your soul. Give me a different version. Any version of it.
Other than KJV?
Yeah, anything. Yeah, anything. I just want to see a different one. I want to see what they're saying. I don't be knowing.
Let's do
But I know it's not endangering your soul.
let's do
Dang.
Yeah, it's definitely not endangering.
What's the snare to your soul? Just,
That's what
they said a
says.
snare to your soul.
Oh yeah.
What's a snare again? Is that one of those things that? No, wait. It's a trap, isn't it? It's a
The
trap.
other one say snare as well.
Yeah, a lot of the other ones say the same thing. So you just want to know.
Yeah. What I mean, if they all say yeah, read anyone. It don't matter.
Try ES.
I don't know why I thought a snare was a bow and arrow for a second. I'm seeing somebody go like this.
Yeah, that's a bow and an arrow.
Entangle yourself in a snare.
Do you know what nobody knows? Look up snare.
Snare is a trap, right? It's the
It's a trap.
okay.
Yeah, feel free to look it up.
An instrument for catching animals, particularly fowls, by the leg.
That's perfect.
It consists of a cord or string with slip knots in which the leg is entangled. Anything by which one is entangled and brought into trouble. To catch with the snare, to ensnare, to entangle. Okay, that's just. Yeah, those. That's what I had.
Yeah. That's such a good scripture too, because like it ain't just a friend. First off, don't nobody just get anger on their own. If Adam was in the garden without Eve, he would have never got angry ever. He would have just been chilling.
So where anger come from?
Are you saying it come from
You
women?
said that your daddy.
Like the root of it, like where it
That's a
comes
good question. Hold on, let me see if it's not wrong. I'm looking for a reason to say no. No, it don't come from women. Initially, it comes through her. By way of your daddy. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah, nah, it ain't hers. It's not like she's to blame. She's just like giving birth to it. It's like the baby. Satan put that anger embryo in her, and she give birth to it through everybody else. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not beautiful.
It's ugly. Yeah, but nah, the snare to the soul thing, because literally anybody who has anger is trapped in it. You can't stop. You can't be like, I'm not gonna get angry, and let somebody want to push you and you not get that way. You know what I mean? And I kind of want to say I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. But I'll leave leeway to be wrong. But yeah, it seems like the first time that something had to happen. Some angry person who we was kicking it with did something that caused us to do what you did, drift off into your imagination, start thinking, you know what I mean, instead of just being. And then from that moment forward, we learned how to not learn. We started learning that way, you know what I mean? Like example, the babies learn new languages faster than any adult. They're not in their head. They haven't learned how to not learn yet. You know what I mean? They're not learning how. They're not learning by way of Satan, by thoughts and none of that nonsense. They're observing what's going on right in front of them, and that's it. You know what I mean? They're not internalizing it and thinking on it. When we thinking, I got to learn this language. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to have this restaurant. All that's in the way is just learning. You know what I mean? Through just simple observation. And so I say this. For as long as you got anger, you'll never learn. You won't be able to, for instance, when you got your foot in the trap or the snare, so to say, yeah, you can want to get out, but your soul know it's in a trap. So it's like, bro, whatever, we just gonna relax here. We can't do nothing about it. You know what I mean? Your mind would be like, yeah, let's try to get out. Because it knows every time that you try to get out, you really trapped. You can't do nothing. You're gonna get discouraged. You know what I mean? So it's like an internal battle going on where your soul is trying to fight to get free of something that is trapped in by way of that anger.
So the solution would be how we get out then?
Well, you can't have anger. For as long as you got anger, you trapped.
Obviously forgive. But like I have forgiven my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And every now I haven't gotten angry. I can't remember a time I've actually gotten like upset, angry, or anything like that. But I do still experience like frustration.
Same thing.
So, what's the issue then?
You thinking of something. You holding on to something in your head. You got a desired outcome, an expected way that you think it's gonna go, or something should go.
Mm-hmm.
That's the trap right there. On the flip side, though, it's really observation. I had the perfect words. Your question was again, how do you not do that? And you said you have forgiven mommy and daddy and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
First off, you would have to realize that you don't know how to learn. And realize that you don't know. And move as such. If you do that, you 100% open. Does that make sense to you? Nice. Does that make sense to anybody else? No?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could really go through life realizing that of yourself you don't know nothing, and of yourself you can't do nothing, you'll be perfectly fine. You have walked right back into learning how to learn. Or you'll just learn. You don't even have to learn. You'll just learn. That's it. Because you'll be able to see. You won't have this internal, you won't be listening to Satan trying to teach you things. Whatever you get from him is learning how to not learn. Whatever thought that comes to your head that he's trying to tell you to do is learning how to not learn. You know what I mean?
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, and the hard set word, I love that word too. We need to make a whole little pot of series because that's just that analogy run deep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can't learn no more. You know what I mean? Because there's a teacher that we had. I think we spoke about this before. He would love to teach you all things, the Holy Spirit, but he don't do it when you in your head like that. He can't do it. You following somebody else, the deceiver, the one who's got you learning how to not learn. Hey, do this, it's gonna work, and it don't never work. You always go back to the same doggone thing. And he'll discourage the crap out of you, so you'll just accept it. You know what I mean? It's like with your demeanor, you'll be like, all right, I'm gonna just do this thing because whatever, I can't help it. You really just choosing it. Whereas if you didn't put up the fight in the first place, that teacher from within will walk you away from it. Not you. You can't do that yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I'm starting to wrap my head around an understanding day by day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of myself, there's no way I can overcome this or do this or not be angry or be upset or frustrated with this person. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm realizing that there's certain things I can't do of myself.
There's nothing that you can do of
Oh, yeah,
yourself.
there's nothing. So I have to let the Holy Spirit, like,
mm-hmm.
do this. But I also think about the scripture that says, don't grieve the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
By doing
that.
Okay.
By the way that you live, by doing that nonsense. Because he got to go along for the ride with that whackness.
Yeah, but aren't you supposed to learn how to not do the whackness and he's supposed to teach you?
No. You don't learn how to not do the whackness. If that makes any sense.
Don't do it.
You just stop going with what's going on in your head, and he'll show you.
Okay.
What you associate with learning is learning how to not learn. You get what I'm saying? That's why everybody who go to school forget everything once they out of there. You know what I mean? That way isn't it's not like walking. It ain't like how we learn how to walk. You know what I mean? We don't forget that. Something got to happen for us to forget how to walk. You know what I mean? Time just got to pass for us to forget calculus. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's not a of your effort thing, because at that same point you're saying, hey, I got to put some effort in to learn. No, you don't. You'll learn the same way just by observation, by not going with Satan, and you'll see everything. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah, all you really have to do is just realize that. If you could truly realize that, the trap set free. Apart from the anger, speaking specifically to anybody who done, because realistically, the only thing that I've ever seen anybody who, and I can't say for certain, but I speak for myself. After forgiveness, the only thing that you could trip into is thought. There's nothing else there for you. It's the only way that bruh can get you is believing a lie. You know what I mean? By way of thought. Your thoughts ain't true at all. I don't know if does anybody have an objection to that? No? Yeah, they're not true. The same way that the truth sets you free is the same way that the lie holds you captive. You know what I mean? So even if you was free, if you believe that you wasn't, now you captive. You know what I mean? If you believe the lie, it's there for you. You know what I mean? In your freedom, you chosen to be in chains by way of that nonsense. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, realize that you don't know nothing. You don't even know what's good for you. You know what I mean? For you to be like, I should do this, you don't even know. You know what I mean? Relax. What's up?
Well, I feel like that I've accepted that I don't know anything. Nothing's in my control. I don't want anything because I don't know what I want. But that don't stop me from doing what I'm not supposed to do.
Say that again?
That doesn't stop me from doing what I'm not supposed to do.
I'm confused.
Like,
You're confused just a little bit.
I don't feel like I've given up control. I don't know what I want. I know I don't know what I want. I know that, like, I can't control anything, like, all that, but that doesn't stop me from doing things that I shouldn't be doing.
The shouldn't be doing, where you getting that from?
The Bible, really.
If Satan's your daddy, should you be doing those things?
Yeah.
Relax in it then. Does that make sense to you?
Are you saying that I let go of control, but I'm giving Satan control then?
No. Say that one more time. I'm confused. You said I didn't get what you said. Say that one more time.
I'm saying that I don't feel like I'm in control anymore, and I'm not trying to be.
Right.
But in me doing that, I'm still, like, it's not like I'm turning, like, I'm still doing things I know I should be doing.
That's the issue right there. If you, hypothetically, I don't know. If Satan your daddy and you doing these things that you shouldn't be doing by way of scripture or by morality, whatever you see it to be, that's the issue. You should be doing it. No?
But, no, I'm confused. So the issue is not, like, the control and, like, thing, right? It's something else, is that what you're saying?
What control?
Like, me being in control of, like, my life, or feeling like I know what's best, or I know what I want. Because I'm saying I don't have that.
Right. Yeah. If Satan your daddy, if you got anger, you shouldn't have that. Have you forgiven your parents yet?
I still live with my parents, so it'd be hard.
Oh yeah, so yeah, you should have all that stuff.
It'd be hard. I forgave my mother and my father, but like with my father, there's no anger at all, no frustration, irritation, but I don't live with him, so it's easy to not. When I go around him, I still don't feel it because I don't live with him.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom, I live with her.
When you said you forgave them both,
Mm-hmm.
How did you? Can you walk me through that?
I didn't go to them, especially not my dad. My mom, I have to talk to her about things and stuff, but Yeah.
Did you apologize to her for being angry at her?
No.
Yeah, you haven't forgiven mommy and daddy. That's why you right where you at. That's why you're right where you supposed to be.
Do I have to have the conversation though, or can I just like forgive them on my own?
As far as I know, the only reason why I would recommend not doing that, going to that person, is if there's danger, so to say. Like if you about to get, if they say, hey, I'm gonna shoot you the next time I see you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's danger, and I still live with her, so it's like.
It ain't that much then. You need to go confront her. You need to face it. Listen, is this not odd to you? You scared to forgive your mama, to go face her. That should tell you something wrong. If anybody, you should be able to talk to mama.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's terrible.
Right.
But she's dangerous. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
What do you think forgiveness is?
Letting go of anger, allowing love.
Do you think your mama made herself that way that you talking about?
She didn't make herself that way, but she never forgave, and so that's why she is that way. She allowed herself to stay that way.
Yeah. She in the trap too, homie. Satan her daddy too, homie. You making her do these crazy things, but she didn't make herself that way. You know what I mean? Somebody else caused her to be that way. Somebody else caused her to, let's just, for lack of a better term, somebody else traumatized her into anger, and she been holding that against somebody else. In that, Satan got a hold of her. And Puppet Master got her doing all this other stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it ain't her. It's somebody else that made her do that, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I don't want to get intellectual with you, but I know that it's a requirement to walk back in God's house of purity. You can't have none of that. You know what I mean? In order to be forgiven of God, you can't have nothing against nobody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're worthy of judgment. You judging somebody else, you holding something against somebody else, it's going to be held against you. That's just the law of it. So the dope thing about going to the person, or really all forgiveness is just realizing that the same way that you in your little trap, you can't stop doing these things that you want to stop doing or that you see that you shouldn't do, it's the same for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's something else that's made a home in them that they can't stop doing. It's driving them. Same way it's driving you. So for you to hate, for instance, if I hated you for something that you can't control, I'm hating the innocent person. The things that you say you want to stop doing, if somebody held it against you, it ain't you. You know what I mean? Because you've made the effort to stop it, correct? Or tried to at least, or wanted to.
I guess so.
A little bit. Anyway, in layman's terms, it's just realizing that ain't nobody in control of themselves. Example, Jesus wasn't righteous because he took effort. It's just God was his dad. As a result of God being his dad, he was righteous. If Satan's your daddy, you don't have to take effort to be unrighteous. You just gonna be unrighteous. You can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? If you can realize that about everybody else, you can see the innocent person. And then you can just go and forgive them by apologizing and say, hey, I see that, I got resentment towards you, but it ain't you. I apologize for holding that stuff against you. I was wrong. I apologize. That's it. It's not about looking at their issue. It's about your issues and what you wrong for.
Yeah. I guess I need to accept that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because even with me thinking that I'm wrong, I'm still the reason why I even have resentment is because of what you did. So it's like
right.
I have to
100%.
let go of what they did.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you shouldn't even hold it against yourself. The only thing that you got is, as a result, as an adult, it's your responsibility to overcome that nonsense. You know what I mean? You didn't make yourself that way. You didn't make yourself that way. The same way your mama didn't make herself that way. Same way her mama didn't make herself that way. It just keep going on and on and on and on. The only way to stop it is to just go and forgive. You know what I mean? And just apologize for holding that stuff against them. The dope thing that you get when you confront your mama, the big bad wolf, homie. Imagine going up to the big bad wolf and conquering it. You just took over the world, homie. You gonna walk outside that with like a new level of courage that you ain't never experienced in life, homie. Like your roots right now are rotten. Once you get past mama, it's like you get past mama. Same thing with pops too. You can go back to your real father, your spiritual father, and leave your daddy. Satan. New nature happens. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you can truly see that in yourself, I wouldn't say go. If you don't see that in yourself, if you don't see that there's this other thing driving you, and that everybody else with anger is the same way, don't do it. The moment that you see it, go and forgive, and don't listen to him telling you anything about the situation. Just go do it. Because look, watch this.
Let's see.
He already telling you something about it, huh? A little bit, no?
I'm just not sure, but like, if it's, I don't know, but I'm gonna try it.
Uh-huh.
I'll say that. I'm just,
Don't take my word for it, and don't try it if you don't see it.
I'm just not sure. I don't feel like I be getting angry.
Mm-hmm.
So it has. If I do have anger, it has to be real deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like I don't be getting angry.
Irritation, frustration, all of that stuff is the same thing. You might call it children. Some people will call them children. I just say it's the same thing. Even if it is the children, you'll know the tree by the fruits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you got that is because it's there. I don't take no effort at all in any situation. To like if I just remove myself, which is super rare. Like I just remove myself. You know what I mean? But I don't. There's no effort in interaction with humans anymore. If you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like once upon a time, I try to walk on eggshells to avoid it, or this, that, and the third. Try to say something, or try to use words to convince them of something, or argue and all that stuff like that. It's no effort no more. Mm-hmm. And I know the difference of then and now. No effort, and it ain't. Man, I don't even really know how to describe it. It's like a superpower. The best way I can word it is just like in a bubble. I don't even know. I don't even want to use that. But I know ain't no effort in it. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you don't see it, then don't do it, because it's when it's true. It's when you can really see that. Like when you can really see, that's by way of God. It's God letting you see it. So if you do your prayer, I challenge you this. If you do that prayer, ask God, hey, if I'm angry, God, show it to me. You know what I mean? You might not see it right then, there, in that moment, but just stay observing and watch yourself. And the idea that you have that I don't get angry, let that go. And be an observer again, and be honest and see if it's there or not. And when you can see it, realize that everybody else who ever done offended anybody, it ain't never them. It's the same thing that's making everybody do that nonsense. When you do that, go to your mama and go to your daddy, and then find out what I'm talking about. Without it, there's nothing you can do in that trap. It don't matter. You know what I mean? If anything, just relax in that trap. Because if you relax and you weren't trying to do all this nonsense, you would stop seeing the lie. You would start seeing the truth. If you get what I'm saying. You would see straight up what got you there. Yeah, because if you're not holding on to no thoughts, the only thing that's left is the truth. And you'll see that clear as day. And that'll walk you right where you need to be outside of that trap. If you get what I'm saying. So did I answer your question? I don't.
Yeah, I was talking about anger.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I thought you were talking about the.
Not feeling
what
like
do you do?
I had. Oh, the original question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it was exactly.
Yeah, I'll say this: if you got anger, there ain't nothing you can do. There's nothing that you can do. I don't even want to call it the wrath of God, because I don't see it that way. But I understand why somebody else would call it like that. Like the people who calling out to God and complaining is the ones who aren't eligible for forgiveness. You know what I mean? The ones who are still holding something against somebody. Mm-hmm. It was something you said from the last meeting that was super dope. I forget what it was, but I forget what I said, and you said the other alignment. Oh yeah. So we said I was talking about in judgment the sentence is. He brought up something. He was like, yeah, that's even like in the Lord's Prayer when he says, how he teaches us to pray is, forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. It ain't before. It's as we do that. Literally, the moment that you go and forgive, God will forgive you. There's nothing he gonna hold against you no more. It's like, come back in. You know what I mean? You done dropped the hate. I can welcome you right back in the kingdom. But in that judgment, any judgment you got towards anybody, you guilty. You know what I mean?
But does it matter if it's just words and you actually don't, like, it's not within?
That's why I say it's not the words that you say. That's why I say if you can't see that person is innocent, you know what I mean? If you can't separate that person from that judgment that you got, there's no reason even going to that person.
Got you. Okay.
You know what I mean? But when you go and confront the big bad wolf, oh, something else come with that.
I
You know what I
definitely
mean?
I definitely see it as like ignorance, if anything.
What's that?
Like the anger and all that. Like you just don't even know what you're doing. Like you just angry.
Oh yeah, anger is a possessive spirit. You heard of anger management, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not real. Anger manages you. You can't manage no anger. You can try to do things. You can even try to cap off your bottle, but nah, it's still doing something to you on the inside. You know what I mean? You can't. That's not a manageable spirit. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you don't have to go, but I highly recommend it. Unless that person gonna kill you, or if they dead, nah. If you can see what I'm saying, go do it.
No, I'm gonna do it.
Uh-huh.
But my mom don't even let me talk to her in general, so it's like
Fine, and listen, it ain't got nothing to do with her. Forget. This is what's gonna happen. Satan gonna have a field day with you. Once you start entertaining this idea, he knows that's the only thing that gives him that foothold in you. You know what I mean? Without that, he can only try to convince you, keep trying to convince you. But anybody with anger right now belongs to him. You know what I mean? He can try to deceive somebody by like getting them to have a thought, or so to say, once they go back. But the light of God will always shine on it. It's like, hey, look at you, and it's like it's protecting them from it. It's like that they don't have that ownership anymore. You know what I mean? That's why they like pray without ceasing, so you can gain that resistance from that thought. It's like you can start seeing it as the trap it is before. You know what I mean? You'll grow into it, or grow out of it the same way that you grew into it. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
If you get what I'm saying. The same way that we grew into letting thoughts guiding us, we'll grow out of it. You know what I mean? By way of prayer. But yeah, without that ain't nothing. But when you go and confront, like when you go like, man, running up on Satan with love is beautiful. You know what I mean? You look crazy when I say.
I'm trying to see where you're going.
You can't run up to Satan with no hate and expect to win.
With no hate or with hate?
Excuse me, I'm black. With any hate. You walk up to Satan, you try to confront Satan with any hate, game over.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the puppet master is like, all right, those are all the tools I work with.
Yeah.
You lose, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you are realizing that it ain't that person and there's no judgment on that person, there's nothing that he can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're literally going to, so it don't matter what your mama say. It don't matter if she takes it the right way. You're not trying to convince her of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to apologize that you're wrong for holding her issues against her.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't make herself that way.
Mm-mm.
Same way you didn't make yourself that way. You know what I mean? All you're doing is just apologize for holding that against that person. That moment, hey, gotta separate you from that anger for real. Like the spirit is removed at that point. You know what I mean? It ain't no longer your, it's not a part of your nature no more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I can't use words to really describe the state of being that it is, but it's really a state of being. It's like, yeah, I don't have no words. But I say, where there's anger, there ain't no love. Mm-hmm. At all. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you can see that, do that and you'll find out exactly what I'm talking about. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Did you see what I'm talking about? About the learning how to not learn thing?
Yes.
and don't take my, I don't like saying this, don't take my word for this. But you hit the nail on the head. Like the second that you started thinking, it's a reason why they say and take no thought for your life. You know what I mean? We shouldn't be trying to live by no thoughts at all. Like that's Satan trying to tell folks how to live. He's mentioned that's how he got Eve in the garden. You know what I mean? Without that, you perfectly fine. You can't you can't the life that God has for you is not mapped out in your head. So when your head is trying to tell you about the life, let it go. Let life teach you about life. Life would love to teach you about life if you would stop going in your doggone head. If you get what I'm saying. The baby not thinking about nothing. They're so observant. It's like man, it's so dope how God worked, because in that stillness, man, like that's where you learn. You know what I mean? Like the baby, when he come out, hey bro, you can't do nothing. Sit, be still, and observe. You know what I mean? Then everything just comes to him. You know what I mean? Even like the initial purpose of prison is to lock you up, to get you to be still, so you can get back to that observation. You know what I mean? It's a lot of whackness in the prison that prevents that, but that's the whole purpose of it. It's literally just getting you back to being able to learn. You know what I mean? Everybody in there done got that from this. Life itself ain't gonna put you up in there. Not this life. And don't take my word for it. But yeah. So to wrap up, if you truly want to learn, realize that you don't know how to learn, or that you learn how to not learn. And that of yourself you don't know nothing. And of yourself you can't do nothing. Your thoughts are going to tell you, you know this and you should do that. 2 traps, 2 for 1. Doubt them both. Just live. Watch. You'll be perfectly fine, homie. If you get what I'm saying. Does this make sense? Is there a better way I can say this?
Can you write that down though?
Right.
The last 4 things you just said.
Watch the video.
Ooh, I don't know what I just said.
Upload.
Let's see. Yeah, if you realize of yourself you don't know nothing, of yourself you can do nothing. She recorded. If you realize of yourself you know nothing and you can do nothing, you will be free. Every thought that comes in your head is telling you, hey, you know this, so you should do this. It's a trap. I think I said 2 for 1. It's like a trap. And another thing too, man, I was smoking on that Mace thing. The lie. And man, it just goes on and on, because the chains that we in, it ain't one link. It starts, every one link got another one, another. It just works that way. So there ain't no one thing that you can do in the whackness that don't lead to another one. So if you stop the doing, you'll be perfectly fine. You're not adding links. If anything, you're seeing the link itself, and you seeing that link is what separates you from it. Because now I don't want to confuse you, but if you can see what I'm saying, or if you can see truth, it's because God allowed you to see the truth. Any truth that you see is because God allowed you to see it. Any lie that you see, Satan allowed you to see that lie. And if anything, that's wrong. That's not true at all. God allowed you to see the lie and the truth. Satan will hide the truth from you. The difference is when Satan shows you the lie, he'll show you it as the truth. When God shows you the lie, he'll show it as the lie. If you get what I'm saying. But yeah, just relax, homie. Don't go with nothing that your head is telling you to do. For common sense purposes. You good? You get what I'm saying? Okay. Helpful at all? No? Have you forgiven your parents yet?
Yes.
Yeah? How was that?
For my mom, it just happened organically. Like we were just having a conversation. It just like kind of happened. And then with my dad, it was something I had to decide on how to forgive him. Like, I feel like when I realized I had to, apologize for holding stuff against him, it made me understand forgiveness differently with him.
And so you went to them and said what?
I apologize for holding whatever I was holding against you.
And what was their reaction?
My dad was like, okay, cool. He was fine with it. He didn't understand what I was saying. He was like, yeah, okay, it is, And I was like, oh, he really. And it was like a good moment because I went in with that's why I took my time with my dad because I was going in with so much expectation and feel like he was going to apologize to me and none of that happened. And
nice.
He was like, okay. I was like, okay. So.
And mama?
My mom, it just happened organically, the conversation, and then it just
How did she respond to it? If you're willing to say,
Yeah, my mom took it very I want to say she understood. I feel like she understood what I was saying. It was very I hate to say the word emotional but it was emotional. It was an emotional conversation. But I feel like it ended with very good closure. Now I feel like we're not able our conversations aren't fake anymore.
Nice.
I always felt even though my mom's my closest person,
man.
our conversations aren't fake.
Look, oh man, I love being real with my parents.
Yeah.
Especially my mom. It'd be so funny. The world be having fake love for mama. I don't know what it is. It's like a I don't know if it's a misunderstanding of honoring your mother and father, or I don't know what it is really.
It's a fear love.
I don't even think it's a
pleasing. You just want to please her.
Yeah, it is 100% an obligation. It's they have made it cultural to be super fond of mama no matter what she does.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah, or just to not be real with mama or women. Period. You're not supposed to be real with these folks, and it's the best when you are real with these folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you compared it to your mom is the big bad wolf, I was like, yeah, it really is. Because I was fake with my mom for a while, real fake, just kind of going along with a lot of things, and then
my buddy asked me, a guy I work with, he was saying, man, I can't remember the question. I really would, who cares? But the meat, I was like, man, I think I put it in my phone too. I think I call it the friendship agreement. Cause I can't remember what we was talking about. So anyway, forget it. But the friendship agreement was, y'all got friends? Everybody got friends? So tell me if I'm wrong. You say, no, you ain't got no friends. You said, y'all ain't, hey, she ain't rocking with none of y'all. Y'all all
at least she honest.
I'm joking.
This is the friendship agreement. And correct me if I'm wrong. But we started cracking up super hard in the middle of the floor. Hey, Rachel, you lie to me and I lie to you, and it's all good, homie. We cool. You tell me the truth about me, I can't stand you, homie. Yeah, I ain't dealing with her no more. You know what I mean? There's no truth in it. But the dopest thing that you can be, the best thing that you can be with anybody around you, forget whether you call them a friend or not, is truthful with all people. You know what I mean? Folks ain't even honest with mom and dad. How you gonna be honest with the world and you ain't honest with your mom and your papa? You know what I mean? Your roots rotten. And don't nothing good come from nobody with rotten roots or nothing with rotten roots.
I feel like I'm more honest with my friends than I am my parents. If I'm honest, I feel like my friends know me more than my parents do.
Well,
I don't know.
Your situation.
My situation.
Are you still there? Okay then. Yeah. They still your parents. You still a baby bird. You need to jump out the nest, homie. How you look for an apartment or a house?
Yeah.
When?
Every now and then. Every now and then, not consistently. But I do be looking. It's the market right now. It's getting a little better.
Stop listening to Satan, homie. Yeah, look. Hey.
I got a lot of big payments coming up.
Listen, homie. Stop listening to Satan. Or keep listening to him. It's up to you. You want to stay in the snare or the trap, you know what I mean? You go right ahead. Or start looking, homie. Or keep not being real with your parents. You can't be...
I'm real with them. It's just,
Or whatever you just said. First off...
It's a little... They don't get everything.
Yeah. There's a certain amount of growth that you just don't get to experience right now. You like a full-grown...
I get it.
Bird.
I get it.
You don't get it.
Why you gotta do the analogy?
You like a full-grown bird, in the eggshell. It's not like you even in the nest.
It's okay, me too, Rachel.
It's like you the full
I
grown
can't
bird
wait to graduate.
sitting
I
up
can get
under
out of
there.
there.
No, I do feel like I've outgrown the nest. It's an uncomfortable feeling.
You ain't even outgrown the shell yet.
Oh,
You know what I
my
mean?
God. Okay.
Look, do what you want to do. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Look for a spot.
I've been looking.
Look for a spot like you mean it. I couldn't stand being at my mama's house. How old? Well, you ain't got to tell you. I think I was 23. I couldn't stand being at my mama's house. You know what I mean? Apart from, I ain't had no problem being in my house, or my mom and dad's house, because I ain't have to deal with none of that crap. You know what I mean? I was just doing what I do. When dad split, I think I was about 17 or whatever. So yeah, from 17 to 23, I was the oldest person in the house with my mama. I could not stand it. It got to the point I was like, yo, I can see why this didn't work. You know what I mean? And I'm getting the hell out of here. I don't know where I'm going to go. You know what I mean? But I know I ain't going to no apartment, and just started looking for real. You know what I mean? I wasn't every now and then. I wake up every day. Is there something new? Let me look at these
All right,
spots,
so when I
you
get
know
my
what mean?
house and it's a little fixer upper, y'all gonna come help me fix it up?
Yes.
It might not even be a fix-up. You know what I
If
mean?
that's the case, I got you.
Look for a spot.
Like
you know what I
paying
mean?
for
Look, we ain't gonna do nothing if you looking every now and then. You ain't gonna find nothing.
Okay, I would
So,
get it.
I got a list of spots.
Really?
Mhm.
Yes, I've been looking for
I
years.
downloaded
I can't even
Zillow.
move out.
I have the Zillow on here.
And
It sends me
look-
notifications.
Look
like,
without
whatever.
limitation. You know what I mean? Don't be retarded like I'm looking for a $20 million mansion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just look for a spot. And look as if you about to go buy that spot. You know what I mean? Call up the realtors, ask questions, talk. You know what I mean? Like, be for real about that nonsense.
These are apartments though, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Personally, I don't want to do apartments, but
I'm going to tell you this.
I'm not opposed. I just want to get out.
There is nothing more that God wants you to do than to be an adult. If you start adamantly seeking that, he's going to help you, homie. Satan going to keep you over there. He don't want you to be an adult, homie. He going to tell you a million different things. I can't find this, I can't the market, la da 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 da. God don't give a crap about none of that. You know what I mean? So yeah, seek and watch how he work with you. If you don't take nothing from me, take that, homie. I've been living my life like that for as long as I can remember, and it always works out. The right thing, gotta always help you out with that. Whackness, Satan gonna always help you out with that. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, that's all I got. And I don't got a question for next week, but I'm gonna get one for you guys. Any questions, anything before we wrap up? You good?
I'm sorry, I have a question.
What's up?
I was thinking about the whole learning how not to learn, and like how you were saying, like it's supposed to be like babies ultimately, right?
In the learning sense.
Yeah. So is that like praying without ceasing?
You get there from that. There's nothing. Listen, in praying without ceasing, the moving and the doing that your thoughts are used to doing, they don't like that. They don't like you sitting still and doing nothing. You know what I mean? The further you get away from them, the closer you get to the light. And it's that light that separates you. That light is going to activate, and it's going to allow you to be that way. Did I lose you?
Allow me to be the way, like praying without ceasing, or allow me to just be the way of a baby.
What they're talking about when they're saying, be like a child.
Okay.
You'll learn like a child. You'll be innocent like a child. But you won't be the naivete aspect of a child. That's not going to be there. If anything, you'll be wise, like you old as dirt. You know what I mean? Because you'll see how the whole world operates. The same way them thoughts are guiding you is how they guide every person. And when you're sitting and just watching them, and I don't know if you're putting your effort into it, there's still supposed to be no effort. It's just observation. Just watch what's going on with nothing. Don't try to. I was listening to somebody on that Buddha talk the other day. They're talking about drowning out the thoughts and canceling out the thoughts. Sit there and just watch them. Just observe them. See how they get to know them apart from yourself. You know what I mean? Because they exist without you. I don't know if you know that for sure, but they exist without you. And the same thing that's driving them is the same thing that's driving everybody else. And if you can recognize them, you can see the nonsense coming from a mile away. It's like you can see the whole world operating. It's like this. It's like watching a puppet show. It's not really like that because it's better. It's like it's kind. I don't want to make it. It's like this. Watching a puppet show and seeing all the puppets as beings of themselves, and then it's like the veil moves up, and then you can see the people up top like controlling them. You know what I mean? And then the added aspect that I was gonna add, it's like seeing that and seeing the script on the wall like playing out. You know what I mean? It's like I can see what's going on with this person. It's like you can see the whole world around you. It's not you're not unaware of the show. If you get what I'm saying. That's why they're telling you to pray without ceasing. Because when you get out of that, you're going to be led over to the other, the dark light, if you get what I'm saying. Am I losing you?
No, you're not losing me.
Okay, so I think I got a better way to say it. Oh, this is cool. The opposite of praying without ceasing is taking thought without ceasing.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's one or the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was like alluding to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Right. Because it doesn't mean that the thoughts stop. It's just you're going to be taking thoughts forever without that. You know
so
what I
when
mean?
you're praying without ceasing, you're not saying words still. It's still just like.
Yeah, I don't say nothing. Often, every now and then, I'll do the Lord's Prayer. And then I just sit down and be quiet. You know what I mean? Like the Lord's Prayer is like my alarm clock. You know what I mean? It's like when I wake up, it's just I just start saying it and then I just sit still and just watch what's going on for however long I sit there and do it. But yeah, I'm not doing nothing but just watching what's going on. Yeah, and it's yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's possible for me to not take thought without that. You know what I mean? Because without that, that's going to guide me. Whereas this other thing is guiding me as I'm doing that. You know what I mean? I clearly know the difference. Yeah. Because the only time that I ever started taking thought is when I don't do that. You know what I mean? It takes a while for me to realize, depending on how long I would stop when I would stop. But yeah. 3 recommendations I got for life. Forgive. If you see as you getting angry, Satan your daddy, homie. I don't care what nobody say. That's just how it works. Forgive. Yeah, 3 steps. Forgive, pray without ceasing, and just relax, homie. Yeah. And if you don't get what I'm saying, pray, just observe what's going on inside you. Just watch what's going on. You know what I mean? And then just relax and let God do let them work. Yeah. Again, like when we talk about the sin or the whackness or the things that we don't want to do, we try to stop ourselves from doing it. It don't work. God said, yo, let me cleanse you all your unrighteousness. You know what I mean? Let him do it. He'll do it. The whackness that I stopped was when I stopped trying to stop it. You know what I mean? The dope, whatever dopeness I got in life right now came not from my effort. If anything, it's just I was allowed to see something and I did what I saw to do. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I can get this store. Let me just go. Or I can get a store. Why can't I get a store? I can just go look for one. All right, yeah, I want to get out of my mama's house. Let me go look for one. I saw I need to get the hell up out of here because it's activating the hell in me. Boy, but yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that's all I got. Any other questions? Or did we?
Thank you. Yeah. That
okay.
makes sense. Yeah, thanks.
Cool. So we good to wrap up?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Till next time.